Welcome to our first online show. Hello, I'm Darla Nolan and co-chair of the Master Show with Helen Hanley. When asked for ideas for new shows last spring, I suggested copying the masters. Personally, I have painted a master a year for the past 7 years for that particular category at the Florida State Fair. First, let's clarify. No one can adequately copy a master. Only they can paint with such perfection. Secondly, I, as well as many other artists, have gleaned so much knowledge from trying to match colors, shades, tones, perspective, backgrounds, fold in clothing from copying the masters. Third, Helen and I prepared a Jeopardy game for our reception since we would not be passing out ribbons. Many of you know some of the answers and many we don't know, but we can learn from them. This was a learning show, and this game will soon be posted on our West Pasco Art Guild website. Enjoy and learn. Come, tour our excellent master show from the comfort and safety of your home. First painting, 1881, Pierre-Auguste Renoir, French draftsman and painter. Sisters on the Terrace by Darla Nolan in pastel. Second, 1881, Pierre-Auguste Renoir, excerpt from A Line at the Boating Party. It is thought to be the best of Renoir's work. Darla Nolan, pastel. Next, 1665, Johann Vermeer, Dutch painter, Lady with the Pearl Earring. Darla Nolan in pastel. The Dutch public selected it as the most beautiful painting in all the Netherlands. 1884, Mary Cassatt, Children Playing on the Beach, Darla Nolan, watercolor, impressionistic style. 1650, Diego Velázquez, Spanish, Juan de Pereja, Darla Nolan, acrylic. Juan was born into slavery. He was Diego's assistant and an accomplished painter in his own right. He was freed by Diego in the year 1650. 1888, Vincent van Gogh, La Musée, sitting in a cane chair, half figure, painted while living in Arles, Jean Metzenfen, oil. 1888, Vincent van Gogh, Van Gogh self-portrait, dedicated to Paul Gauguin, Nancy Zambino, oil. Next, 1503, Leonardo Da Vinci, Mona Lisa, the best known, most visited, most written about, most sung about, most parodied work of art in the world. Phyllis Kerwin, oil. 1650, Diego Velázquez, Pope Innocent X, the most famous portrait ever to be executed in the history of art. Darla Nolan, watercolor. 1863, Edward Degas, Leon Bonnet, the only portrait Degas did not get paid for. Leon said it was a disgrace. Darla Nolan, pastel. 2017, Helen Hanley, Facilinator Lady. Helen's Mother, painted by Helen Hanley, pastel in the style of the masters. 1665, Johann Vermeer, Dutch painter, Lady with the Pearl Earring. Once again, this one was painted by our Tony Ferrara in oil. The Dutch selected it as the most beautiful painting in the Netherlands. We've had movies written about it and books written about it. 1913, Henri, Matisse of his wife, The Green Stripe, portrait of Madame Matisse, Darla Nolan in watercolor. They were going through some marriage troubles at that time, and they think that Henri did that to insult his wife. 1872, Berthe Morisot, The Cradle. Her work is often likened to Mary Cassatt, Trish Commons, watercolor. Unknown, Jesus and the Children, Janet Shepherd, oil in the style of the old masters. She painted this for a small church that she went to. When they disbanded, she took the picture with her. 1515, Francisco Malazzi, loyal assistant to Leonardo Da Vinci. Sketch, Leonardo Da Vinci, Darla Nolan, Conte on paper.
1505, Study for the Head of a Soldier in the Battle of Anghiari, Leonardo Da Vinci. Christine Cook, graphite.
1629 to 1630, Peter Paul Rubens, young woman with folded hands. One of Rubens' finest drawings. He used red chalk for face, neck, and hands, and black chalk for the clothing. Darla Nolan, Conte and pastel. Next, in the style of Susan Rothberg, abstract artist, Old Master Sketch by William Fanning in pencil. 1948, M.C. Escher, Dutch artist, hands, depicts a sheet of paper out of which wrists that remain flat on the page, two hands rise, facing each other in the paradoxical act of drawing one another. Connie Johns, watercolor. In the style of William Clozoon Heda, still life with shrimp cocktail, crystal decanter, Florida stone crabs. Helen Hanley, mixed media. Next picture, in an art class taught by Melanie Boggs of North Carolina, in the style of old masters, Art in Africa, Nancy Zambito, oil. In the style of Redon, sunflowers, Joan Waitukey, acrylic. In the style of R. Klausner, Teapot Daisies, Sue Pantella, acrylic. This painting received a blue ribbon at the Florida State Fair this year. Congratulations, Sue. In the style of Georgia O'Keeffe, Hawaiian Ginger, Nancy Akura, watercolor. In the style of Monet, Water Lilies by Lynn Rogers, watercolor. In the style of Renoir, The Bay of Tarpon Springs, painted plein air, Valerie Bandu, watercolor. In the style of Georgia O'Keeffe, Lake Tahoe, painting was done 11-11-11 by Nancy Akura in watercolor. In the style of Georgia O'Keeffe, Blue Lines, Nancy Akura, watercolor. Irises, a watercolor by Gail Pacino in the style of Van Gogh. Strolling, mixed media by Sandy Miller in the style of George Seurat. One of the icons of the late 19th century, he is best known for devising the painting technique known as pointillism. This concludes our 2020 Master Show. Thank you to all the artists who participated, and thanks to you for taking time to view our first online show of paintings. We had a total of 29 paintings. Your board is listening to you. Please continue to share ideas, suggestions for new shows, classes, demonstrations, and workshops. Help us to grow together. Keep dreaming and keep creating.